Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Satija Monagame, and I just finished my first semester of my statistics PhD at Cornell University. And I want to tell you all about it in this video, what to expect, what's going on. That's what we're about to get into in this video. Throughout this video, there might be some kind of annoying ads here and there, and that's because this channel recently actually got monetized thanks to you guys. I had reached the 4,000 hour mark, and as per YouTube's ad policy, we'll be able to withdraw that as a channel once it reaches $100. And what I plan on doing once it reaches $100, and for every single cent of ad revenue that comes from this video, I will donate it to a Sri Lankan hospital. I still haven't worked out the details for that, but yeah, thank you so much for watching. Please, click through the ads. Yeah, thank you so much for watching and contributing. Alright, so I've broken this video into 4 parts: academic, social, life maintenance, and hobbies. Let's get right into it with the first one, academic. Okay, so I pulled up to this place, moved from Texas to New York, and there are like 6 other people in the cohort. Everyone's smart. Everyone's actually so smart. You hear about imposter syndrome and whatnot for grad school. Imposter syndrome is pretty much where you're in some sort of group and you feel like you don't fit, don't belong. But you were put into grad school for a reason, I suppose, and yeah, everyone is just so smart. So there's 7 people in my cohort, for example. Some people have masters, some people have worked in finance and whatnot. They're all very intelligent, and in the rest of the department as well, specifically in my department, it's Cornell Statistics. There's so many smart people, and it's really nice to be around them. And I guess you get a feeling that you just kind of gotta work hard, to get to that level. So yeah, I guess that's the first thing to expect in terms of the academic environment. Pretty much everyone will be pretty smart, and it's kind of a nice thing, and you should kind of take advantage of the opportunity. And I want to clarify that last point. You are already at that level. You're there at the grad school, for a reason. You have succeeded in the past, and you'll continue to succeed. You just gotta work hard, and you'll fit right into the department. Next, we'll talk about classes. The thing about grad classes, at least in my experience, is that maybe the homework load might be less than it was for me in undergrad. I'm not sure. There's still significant amounts of homework, but there's a huge step up in terms of the rigor, the academic rigor of what you're doing. I think about it through the lens of I have a professor, Dr. Basu, and he says we're kind of stepping from the user side of what we're doing onto the developer side, and it's that's for statistical computing. But it also makes sense in terms of research. We're used to consuming research or consuming the knowledge, and now we kind of have to step up and actually add to statistics or add to whatever field you're in, which is kind of a tall task. But it really feels like you're kind of moving up to an entirely different level of classwork. It's like in undergrad, you might see a theorem or some sort of something in your science class, and you're like, oh, well, you don't have to really worry about this. Well, now in grad school, you kind of have to worry about it. You kind of have to worry about the details, which is, I guess, as expected, but that's definitely something to expect when you start taking graduate level courses. My real analysis professor from undergrad, he would always say, as you progress in your, this is for mathematics, but I'm sure it applies to many other fields. Like in mathematics, you progress and you go on, and every single year you learn more. But as the classes get harder and more rigorous and whatnot, you kind of are expected to master less and less, if you will. You learn, for example, algebra or something, and you feel like you could master it, you could teach it. And I guess that feeling kind of goes away little by little as you get into really, specific niche topics in these advanced courses, and I guess that's something to expect, at least in my experience. Now, one thing that I wasn't quite expecting was that even though you're working a lot of hours, to finish your coursework and learn all the material, it kind of doesn't feel like that much. I imagine that many people share this feeling once they enter a graduate program, because your entire kind of life revolves around what you're doing in these courses. It's not like an undergrad or high school or some other school where you go to class and do your work and then you're kind of done. It kind of feels like you're immersed in your work more so, at least for me, than I was in undergrad. And maybe you don't really have that much of an opportunity to join clubs and whatnot and extracurriculars. The culture is just a little bit different, I suppose. So at least in my experience, the workload doesn't feel like it's that much, even if it's maybe more than it was previously, because you're kind of immersed in this. You wake up and go to school, and you meet your friends through your department. So at least in the first semester, that's kind of the experience for me. There's a lot of work, but honestly, it doesn't really feel like too much. And a cool thing that many people know about grad school is that the classes are significantly smaller. My classes are like 10 to 20 people, and the professors are really nice because it's kind of a more laid-back environment. It's easier to get an A or a B in these classes because the learning is kind of up to the student, like us students, and it's a pretty laid-back environment, which is nice. So in summary, for the academic section, pretty much it might be more difficult and a higher kind of load of coursework that you might have to take in your first semester, but also it's kind of a different like flavor of work. I don't know how else to describe it. So, you know, you're going to get through it. You just have to do your thing, and it'll be different for sure. So socially, I was kind of surprised, I guess, by the grad school, because I came in knowing that I'd be one of the youngest people. There are people who are much older and, you know, very, very accomplished statisticians. You know, these people are working with some of the biggest names in like theoretical statistics, and they've published these papers and whatnot. So they're really, really smart people and very accomplished people in your department. But they're also all really normal. I mean, like, you know, in the best way possible. They're all just normal people. They're very smart, but they're really fun to hang out with. We would always like go out on the weekends and stuff. Well, at least at the beginning of the semester when we had a little bit more time, and they're really fun to hang out with. And I would kind of go in with that sort of mindset, I suppose, that even though these people it might seem like they're on a different plane, like just Jimmy Neutron intelligence or something, they're actually just probably normal people, and they're really fun to talk to. So I guess that's what I would say about socially the environment, at least in my experience, for grad school. Apparently the professors, at least like in the Cornell statistics department specifically, like apparently they're pretty chill as well. I don't know how this generalizes to other places, but yeah, apparently they would go out and get drinks and stuff. And I would say that seems pretty accurate to that. Like even the professors seem pretty nice, and I think in general for most places, you might find surprisingly that, you know, everyone's kind of just doing their thing, just doing their job, getting through academia and whatnot. So yeah, I guess reach out if you have the chance to your other people when you get there, and you'll find that they're probably, you know, pretty nice people. And really the social side of everything is kind of one that I'm personally still figuring out, because, you know, you have a good amount of work, and there are kind of these like built-in friends, because you might have a really nice cohort that you get along with, like luckily that I do with these 6 other people. And, you know, that might be the case for you, that might not be. So socially, I guess once you're going to a new environment, you know, this doesn't really apply just for grad school. This is for any time you go to a new environment. You want to try to make friends and meet people, and, you know, kind of invest in other people as well. Okay, now for life maintenance. So I kind of did a maybe somewhat poor job of this one this semester. I'll break it down into 2 parts, you know, life maintenance, or I guess three parts, but really I mainly want to talk about nutrition and exercise. So nutrition, you might be, you know, cooking for yourself for the first time and whatnot like that once you're moving to grad school. If not, then you probably can tune me out for a second, but, you know, you kind of need to eat healthy and make some time to cook and whatnot. I think like I had some issues with that. I was eating like this egg and cheese, like super oily, super salty bagel every single day for lunch for a while. Yeah, that was a really poor decision. Now I don't do that. But yeah, you probably want to just avoid making that mistake in the first place, and, you know, just eat healthy, because you're in a new environment. It might be a stressful environment with all the work and whatnot, but I think that's something that you kind of have to stay on top of. So pretty much don't be like me. Eat your vegetables. This semester, when I go back to New York in a couple of hours, I guess, you know, my flight leaves tomorrow. When I get back there, you best believe I'll be eating vegetables, eating right, because yeah, you just can't skimp out on that. All right, now exercise. I did a better job of this. You know, you don't need to go to the gym every day or anything like that, but it just goes without saying, I guess. Like whenever you're in a new environment, you want to stay on top of your health, and one aspect of that is kind of being active. At least as a grad student, in my experience, like we have to walk around to our classes a lot, and you know, Cornell has a bunch of hills and whatnot, so that's some level of exercise. But, you know, if you can, of course, try to walk a lot, try to go to the gym, and just stay on top of it with your nutrition and diet. And that I would put under life maintenance, because it's kind of something that you might forget about. But yeah, I would definitely recommend trying to eat right, 3 meals a day, sleeping well as much as you can, and of course going to the gym or some sort of exercise, maybe running, biking, whatever you can do. It'll contribute to you feeling better physically and also mentally when you're in this new environment, which might be stressful in your first semester. And that leads really well into the final topic that I want to touch on, which is hobbies. So personally, my hobbies, for example, include like music and running and such. But the thing is, when you're juggling all these sort of things, like for example, maybe this could go under the life maintenance category, you have to do laundry and, clean the apartment, clean the bathroom, whatever, like all these tiny things that you're now suddenly responsible for. It all kind of adds up. And you might lose time or lose track of the time that you might want to spend for your hobbies, such as playing music or running or something. Like the thing that happens is, you're just in maybe a survival mode or something as you're, doing all your work and trying to balance out your time. And then maybe after like 2 months, you're like, wait, I actually didn't even spend that much time doing this hobby. So I guess that's one thing that I would say is you want to set aside some time for your hobbies so that you don't, lose touch with them. And also earlier I mentioned that, the culture around doing extracurricular club activities and, university organizations is a little bit different in grad school, at least in my experience. And for example, this semester I want to set aside some time to, play guitar and ukulele by myself, but also like join the Cornell ping pong team, the table tennis club. And, it's important to set aside some time for these hobbies, and it's important to not lose touch with them. Isn't this ray of sunshine so cool? Like, this isn't a filter. Whoa. Yeah, I mean, this is fantastic timing for recording this YouTube video. Anyway, back to the video. Yeah, so anyway, at most universities you'll be able to find a group with similar interests as you, whether it's like table tennis, maybe Rubik's Cube solving, like video games, like Smash Bros or whatever. Usually, as a grad student, you can join these sort of organizations and clubs to have a little fun while you're at grad school as well. So overall, in grad school, if you're watching this before your first semester of grad school, kind of wondering what to expect, you might be able to expect that the classes might be more rigorous, more difficult than your previous work, perhaps in undergrad, but also you might not feel it that way. And there's always time to do the things that you love, to take care of your life and everything, and sometimes it might feel like you're juggling so much. At least like last semester, it kind of felt like there were kind of a lot of little tiny things to keep track of. But like for example, paying bills, actually, like rent and whatnot. There are all these tiny things that you have to keep track of as you're kind of growing as an adult. But you'll make it through, and it won't feel like that much work. At least in my experience, my first semester of grad school was really fun, and I'm super excited to get back to Ithaca, New York, and start on my second semester. Thank you so much for watching, and like specifically you, because you are, if you're hearing this right now, then that means you sat through this entire video to watch it. And that means you are contributing to helping children in need in Sri Lanka and helping them get access to the healthcare that they can't afford. So I really appreciate you. Whenever I have the details of that donation finalized, I'll put it somewhere on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to watch anything more content, college related content like this, please consider subscribing. My name is Sithija Monage, and I'll see you in the next one.